So what is political science? Well, formally, political science is thought to be sort of this systematic study of the theories and practices of government. But functionally, and this is what we hear much more often, political science is really the study of who gets what, when, where, and how. And I think this is much more helpful because it gives us a sense of really how political science is sort of different from some of the other related social sciences. So, say in contrast to sociology or anthropology or even psychology, political science is really at its core this study of power and resources and the distribution of power and resources within societies of people, within governments and institutions, both formal and informal, across countries, and even globally. And I think that the subdisciplines of political science really kind of play this out pretty well. So in American politics, for example, we have political scientists who study things like judicial appointments at the federal level. They study campaign financing, even within the context of local or municipal level elections. They might look at incarceration rates within states or race relations across the country over time. In a different subdiscipline of political science, one that's called international relations, where we really look at the interaction of countries around the world, we can see political scientists study things like foreign policy decision-making, human rights of vulnerable populations, conflict, both military conflict and economic conflict, things like trade disputes, nuclear proliferation treaties, and even peacekeeping missions around the world. Similarly, in comparative politics, and this is where we can kind of take a more historical, contextual deep dive into specific countries or specific sets of countries, looking at themes and issues and problems that are experienced within those regions. We can look at things like forced migration or the outcome of political protests in really rich and interesting ways. It's important to remember too that political science is a science. And that means that as political scientists, we get to use all kinds of methods to explore our topics of interest. So it goes beyond just sort of conjecture or opinion. We really get to systematically examine sort of our areas of interest using things like statistics or network analysis or survey data. We can even go into the field and collect qualitative data to inform case studies. And it goes beyond just the study of political science, right? Too, I think that it goes into the application of political science. We can use it as researchers and analysts. We could use it as lawyers, as international development practitioners, heads of nonprofits or multilateral institutions, even as diplomats in the Foreign Service. So the lane of the discipline is really very wide, and I think that there are so many opportunities to kind of really look more deeply into the meaning of political science and explore all that there is to study.